Hey guys, this is Dr. Hub. Today we look at the correlation. So correlation, it expresses the strength and the direction. So it expresses the strength as well as the direction of the relationship. So it expresses the strength and the direction of the relationship as is between the two variables in terms of the correlation coefficient. This is in terms of two variables. So it's in terms of two variables. In terms of the correlation, coefficient, and it is represented by R. It is represented by R. So values of R varies from -1. That is a perfect negative correlation. So the perfect negative correlation to that of the positive one, which is a positive correlation. So the value and the size of the coefficient, it indicates the strength of the relationship. So value of the coefficient, it indicates the strength of relationship. Strength of the relationship. So the sign of coefficient indicates the direction of relationship. So sign indicates the direction. Next, let's look at the coefficients between the coefficient between the plus 0.5 and 1. So this coefficient is regarded as a strong, whereas those between, so this is strong, whereas those between plus 0.5 and 0, so this is regarded as weak. So the data is plotted in a scattergram as given, as we are going to see. So it is represented by a scattergram. So let's look at some examples. So how is a positive correlation going to be? A perfect positive will be like this, that is, it will be gradually increasing. And what about high positive? In terms of high positive correlation, the graph is going to look, there are going to be multiple parallel lines which are running through, and it will be a similar pattern as that of the perfect positive. Then look at the low positive correlation. There is a low positive. So low positive correlation means the graph, it runs from bottom left to top right, and there are significant amount of space. There is more amount of space. This is nothing but the low positive correlation. Next is, what about no correlation? So in terms of no correlation, the graph is scattered throughout. It remains scattered throughout. This is no correlation. Next, let's look at low correlation. The low correlation. So in terms of low correlation, the graph runs from the top left to the bottom right. So this is nothing but the low negative correlation. Low negative correlation. Then comes the high negative correlation. So in terms of high negative correlation, the graph, it appears more dense. It runs from the left top to the bottom right. Next, let's look at the perfect negative correlations. In terms of perfect negative correlations, it is going to be almost a straight line from the top left to the bottom right. So now let's look at the values and indicators. So in terms of perfect positive, it is going to be 1. In terms of high positive, it will be 0.9. And in terms of low positive, say it to be 0.5. No correlation means it is 0, and low negative, it indicates it is 0.5. Then no correlation, this will be 0. Then what about the low negative correlation? The low negative correlation, and also the high negative correlation. High negative correlation. And looking at the perfect negative correlation, it will be perfect negative correlation. This is going to be -1. The high negative correlation, it is minus 0.9, whereas the low negative correlation is 0.5. No correlation means it is 0. So now let's look at the types of the correlation coefficients. So in types there is a Pearson coefficient. Next comes the Spearman coefficient. And let's draw a diagram. So the types of correlation indicates there is a stick which runs from which is directly proportional, and this is linear correlation. Next comes non-linear. In terms of non-linear, it forms a circle-like pattern. So this is how non-linear looks. Non-linear pattern. Now we will look at the coefficient of determination. The coefficient of the determination, and the coefficient of determination in short is known as a CD, and this is equal to R square. So it is simply the percentage variable in one factor due to the change in another variable. So it is simply the change of variability. It is a change of the variability and in one factor due to the change in the other variable. This is due to one factor due to the change in another variable.